Big street sweepers roll through downtown Phoenix Friday morning, right through the zone where hundreds of homeless people have set up camp.
We're people, we're humans, we have lives, we're doing the best we can day to day, and we just want our human rights.
The city of Phoenix's cleanup effort comes a day after a federal judge issued an injunction limiting what the city can do when it comes to homeless camps and the people that live here. The emergency injunction is in direct response to a lawsuit filed by the ACLU of Arizona, which is pushing to protect the rights of the homeless. The order prohibits authorities from enforcing sleeping and camping bans on anyone who can't get a bed in a shelter, and city officials are not allowed to seize anyone's property unless it's contraband or poses a threat.
When you're taking survival gear like tents or blankets or clothes, or you're taking people's medications or their vital records, how is this going to help someone who's unsheltered potentially get back on their feet? I think every person could easily understand that that's going to make it much worse for someone who finds themselves currently unsheltered.
We issued flyers out to let everybody know the exact date, time.
Scott Hall is deputy director of Phoenix's Office of Homeless Solutions. He says today's enhanced cleanup in and around 12th Avenue in Madison has been scheduled for weeks, and the court ruling did nothing to change that. Their goal was always to be as respectful as possible, helping everyone move their stuff, then put it back once the area got a good cleaning.
We're always trying to stay in compliance with everything and make sure we don't violate anybody's rights ever, and ultimately trying to get people housed. So with what the judge ordered was absolutely in line with our process and how we were handling these enhanced cleanups, and we followed that to the T.
Now, part of today's cleanup involves city officials reaching out and connecting to some of the folks out here to try and get them into a shelter and get them some of the services that are available. I am told at least 30 people agreed to get some help. In downtown Phoenix, Jason Berry for Arizona's Family.
Certainly a difficult situation. Jason, thanks. Now at 5.